Welcome to the Learn to Sew Academy channel. Please remember to subscribe. Thank you.
Drawstring bags are fun to make. They are very easy and they are great as gifts. You can also use them as gift bags. They are very easy and quick to make. You can also use them to store your small personal items, either around the house or when you travel. These also make a fun bag for little kids to carry around, either putting their little toys in it or even having snacks in it when you go out with your kids. So drawstring bags, as you can see, have a wide range of uses and they are very versatile. So I encourage you to make some for yourself today and to give away to friends too. Okay, let's get started. We're going to do a quick tutorial on how to make a drawstring bag. This is an example. We have different types. We have this one that we boxed the bottom of it. There are others that will just do straight, that will not box the bottom. We can use different cotton fabrics. This is a new one I'm going to be making, and I've decided to use two different fabrics. So this is very simple. I've just cut this using a dimension of 14 by 15 inches. That is what I've cut here. So this smaller one that I made, this was 10 inches by 13. For the string, you can use different things. This is a satin bias that I used here. You can use a ribbon. So for this particular one, I'm going to walk you through. It's very simple. We're just going to pull them right side to right side, and we're just going to sew it in such a way that we're going to leave room for a casing here. We're going to measure about 2 inches from the top. We'll put a mark right there. We'll now come down 1 inch more, and we put another mark right there. We'll do the same for the other side. And what we are doing here is we're creating a place for the casing. You'll see this when we begin to sew. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure 2 from the top right there. And then we'll go to 3. We go 1 inch more down. So we're going to measure that. We're going to come to the other side and do the same thing. We want 2. You mark 2 and then you come and mark 3. Now the way you're going to sew it is you start sewing. You leave like half an inch, a quarter of an inch, whatever you want to do. And you start sewing down like that. So you do a back stitch when you reach here. Just do a back stitch, stop right there. Then come down here and start to sew. Then you sew and come across. You do a pivot, you go across, you sew. When you get over here, you stop it with a back stitch. You skip to over here and you end your stitch. So we'll see how that works shortly. To start, we're going to first sew from the tip to where we have the first mark. Then we'll skip. We'll do a back stitch to lock it right there. You skip to the next line and you sew that all the way to the bottom. Now you turn it around at a 90-degree angle and you start sewing that. When you get to the end, you do a pivot again. You turn it at a 90-degree angle. And now you sew to where we have marked and you do a back stitch, and then you skip to where we have the marking coming up next. And the next thing is I'm gonna iron this. I'm gonna iron out the seams. I'm gonna open it up We're just gonna iron this out. We iron this seam again. You use a quarter or half an inch and you just fold it down and press it. We're going to now fold this to cover where we have our opening. This is where we're going to pass our ribbon or our thread, whatever we're using, the rope or whatever is going to pass through here. You want to go past the opening just a little, like that. I'm just going to hold it in place with this pin. Now we're just going to go to the sewing machine, and right at the very tip we're going to sew it all across. You just start from one side and you start to sew this right at the very edge. So we're just going to press this, we're going to iron it. And then this edge, I'm just going to push it out a little more with the edge of the scissors. Be careful not to poke it. We can use some other object. Next thing we want is to prepare our string and pass it through the hole. You can use different things. This is a satin bias tape that I folded into two and seam around, so you can use that. You can also use a rope, you can use a ribbon. So those are different things. You can also use a fabric. So you just sew a thin strip of fabric, you double it and you just sew it, and you can use that too. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use 40 inches both way. So I'm going to cut two strips of 40 inches long. I'm going to cut this into two. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pass the safety pin through one end of the rope, and we're just going to pass it through the casing. Just want to push this all the way across. When you get to the other opening or in the casing, just keep going, don't come out from that. Keep going until you get back to where you started from. Then we'll pull it off from the other end. Now you do likewise to this other side as well. But this time around, you're going to start from the other end. You just want to keep going like that all across, and you come out from where you're starting from. So there you go. This is out from the other end. And you can just see we have a drawstring bag all completed. To box the edges, what you simply do is, I'm gonna turn this inside out so you can see what we did. So what you're gonna do if you want to box the edges is you want to turn your drawstring bag inside out like that, and then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in a way that you are going to have this edge like a triangle like that, which is what we did right here. We had like a triangle and we cut out part of it. But before you cut out part of it, you're going to sew it first. So you want to open this edge, and you can either do 1 inch, you can measure 1 inch. It's good for you to measure it so you have the same length on both sides. You can do 1 inch, you can do 1.5, you can do 2 depending on how wide you want the bottom to be, depending on how wide you want the space right here to be. So you can go as much as 2 inches. So let's assume we're doing 1.5 inches, and you just want to measure it from that tip. You want to measure 1.5 inches, and then you want to draw your mark. Before you do this, you want to make sure that this is well centered. So you want to make sure you center them properly, like that. Then you measure your 1.5 inch, whatever it is. You take your ruler and you draw a line across like that. So this is the line you're going to go to your sewing machine, and you're going to sew across like that using a back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And you're going to do exact same thing on the other side of the drawstring bag as well. So after you finish sewing across, following the markings you made, you're going to open the seam and sew across. After you finish sewing across, you now take a scissors and you just cut off the edges you don't need. Like if it's sewed across over here, you cut off the rest like that. You leave 1/2 inches and you cut off the rest. You don't want it to feel bulky over here, so that's why we're cutting that off. And once you do that, you're going to have this effect where you have the bottom of the drawstring bag boxed. So that's what we did in this case. I hope this has been a very useful tutorial for you. Do go ahead and make your own drawstring bag. It's great for a gift. It's also great to put your gift in as you present this to people, maybe for Christmas or for any other special occasion. It does really well as a gift bag, and it also does really well as a gift on its own. All right, see you in the next video. Be sure to leave me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe, and remember to click the bell icon for notification. Thank you. Bye.